On a short journey, say for instance to Kajansi along Entebbe Road, it has become normal to be sent scampering off the road almost 10 times for 30 minutes by unruly drivers of these VIP's vehicles. Sometimes these sirens seem to be turned on just to announce the presence of a supposed dignitary, even in circumstances where there is no hold-up in traffic and the convoy can make steady progress. So who may or may not use or misuse the sirens?
We have the president, we have the vice president, we have the speaker, we have the chief justice, we have the bullion van, the Bank of Uganda, and emergency stations like ambulances and all that.
Just 6 people, even when the law is clear on who has right of way. Every other minute there is a car with a siren trying to beat traffic, creating their own right of way. Among these are ambulances believed to be carrying critical patients that need urgent attention. But are all these ambulances on emergency duties? A camera followed a random ambulance along Chinja Road. The driver of this ambulance, headed for Mulago Hospital, is really speedy, undermines all traffic rules. Going over pavements, you would only imagine that his stop would be at the emergency ward, dropping off a patient or picking up one. Instead, he takes a different turn from the hospital entrance and ends up at a construction site and parks. Ambulances are not the only ones that take advantage of the law. Other cars too, some military vehicles, police and government departments, and shockingly, even private vehicles. The traffic officers supposed to enforce the law are more concerned with other cars than those illegally getting right of way. The frustration of the situation is also expressed on social media. Honestly, except in very exceptional circumstances, dignitaries should instruct their drivers to respect the highway code. Otherwise, the message some drivers get is that it is alright to fly out the rules if observing them seems inconvenient. Rules ensure practicality, which in turn minimizes grief. And it's not just about the right of way, even usage of government vehicles. Many times you find vehicles with government number plates carrying animal feed, charcoal, or dropping or picking kids from school. A story is told of a certain government official who resided in PG district but would send the driver to parliament to pick letters and newspapers. Do they know how much the Ugandan taxpayer parts with to first of all purchase this government fleet and later on maintain them on the road? Over the last years, the NRM government has put emphasis on the word prioritization of national interests, sweeping other demands under the carpet. So then, how cost-effective is the fleet management policy of the government of Uganda? The Ministry of Public Service sets standards on how government vehicles should be used and who is entitled to what engine capacity.
Upper limit for a minister that time in 2003 was 3,000 cc. Coming downwards to permanent secretaries, we are at 2,800. Pickup at 2,500, and saloon vehicles at 1,800 cc. That was the technology then, and the thinking and the capacity. But since 2003 to date, 15 years ago, the policy needs to be reviewed. Take care of the present technology in engine development and what the market has to offer, and the terrain probably that you are dealing with.
We would wish to see a reduction in the caliber of vehicles that are being acquired by government institutions.
We see a lot of abuse numbers being inflated, the cost of maintaining them being heavily inflated.
And that's why every financial year, this government is buying brand new vehicles, and you wonder why the government has done new recruitments, and yet we still have our wage bill remaining the same for years in and out, meaning no recruitments have been done.
While on paper only the Prime Minister is granted a 3.5cc capacity vehicle, in practice the 31 cabinet ministers, 49 ministers of state, the over 30 permanent secretaries of the different ministries and directors all drive vehicles above the capacity stipulated by law. As a result, the costs for fleet management have hit the high points, with government incurring huge expenses in monetary terms.
Replacement and buying of new vehicles, 180 billion shilling. Fuel, 150 billion shilling. Maintenance, 100 billion shilling. That's the amount of money we spend every year. But also, that money doesn't include drivers.
Government is duty bound to facilitate its officers who are on duty.
You have another 150 billion shilling for what they call inland travel, the allowances to officials when they are traveling. So we are near spending a trillion shilling.
Yes, it may be costly, okay? What we need to discuss is, what is the next option?
Is it important that we rather convert that kind of level of fleet of government vehicles into the ambulances?
The state-of-the-art vehicles do not just go to top ministry officials, but also to the numerous employees of the different statutory authorities. The huge cost of fleet is also associated with the presidency, with an entourage that beams with over 47 vehicles that are regularly regulated and replaced every 5 years, as well as the presidential jet that is taken care of by the state. The Parliament of Uganda makes a significant contribution to the fleet costs, other than the 200 million shillings that was given to each of the 427 MPs. Each MP is granted a monthly mileage allowance. It is, however, intriguing how the House manages the case of MPs with cases in court. In the 10th Parliament, 3 MPs have been thrown out by court and haven't been able to return to the House, meaning Parliament spent twice on the same item due to lack of clear policies. The Speaker and her deputy receive the money for vehicles and get the monthly mileage allowance. On top of that, they receive official vehicles, a security detail, and fuel cards from the Parliamentary Commission. So what justifies the double expenditure on these officials? The 4 backbench commissioners, committee chairpersons, the leader of the opposition, and the opposition whip also receive extra facilitation.
If the Speaker is entitled to a fleet as a Speaker, then the Speaker shouldn't be given money to go and buy and benefit like other MPs to go and buy a private vehicle. If you must do it, you wait until that person is no longer a Speaker. But to receive money to buy a vehicle on one hand, and then we buy you a fleet of 4 vehicles on the other, it's just abuse, total abuse.
There are new ideas about cutting costs and minimizing wastage, and we should see some revolutionary changes in the way we manage government motor vehicles. But that's the general policy. Particular ministries have to implement the policy at that level.
I think we need to revisit this policy and go for a cost-sharing arrangement, where this cost is shared.
That motion I am hearing in Parliament is not the first time it's coming. It came in 2006. But when the mathematics was worked out, I think it was inevitable that the current arrangement is okay.
In all of these vehicles, it's government fuel that we have in them, So there's a lot of cost government is paying for private use.
Where we need to improve is the management of this fleet. Are the officers using the fleet or the vehicles that are entitled to them for duty? Are they using them for the right purpose? Or there is abuse?
When we're going to restructure the whole policy on car procurement, it must be holistic. And we will give you the red number plate to say that you're a government worker, but you should have been taxed for that vehicle, not driving a tax-free vehicle. And then 2, if you crash that vehicle, it must be your burden to replace the vehicle. So if you can't have the money to replace the vehicle you've crashed, then that means we should actually go down and get a lower capacity vehicles that commensurate with the government officers' salary scale.
The loopholes do not only stop in the procurement. A visit at the Ministry of Health reveals shocking sights. Expensive vehicles continue to rot away for years, despite a set procedure on how government vehicles should be disposed of.
The vehicle runs either 5 years or 250,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. It qualifies for disposal. But the problem is, officers don't want to declare their vehicles for disposal. So ministries tend to delay the disposal. If they go the extra mile to submit the vehicle for disposal, a list is compiled for the accounting officer to approve and say yes. Procurement takes over and invites bids from the public to come and look at them, or appoint an auctioneer. Some people appoint auctioneers who come and advertise, and government valuers. They attach a reserve price. That's the price below which you cannot sell. You can only sell at that price or above it. You cannot sell below. So if we value it at 4 million, probably if there's competition on the car, probably it can fetch maybe 6 million.
How does the country come out of this continuous loss?
With the exception of offices that have very serious security implications, like the president, the vice president, maybe the speaker, deputy, chief justice, about 10 or 15 offices. The rest of us who are serving the public, we should just be given a loan to buy a vehicle. Maybe government can waive taxes, where you will not be given fuel, where maintenance will be at your own cost, where you'll have to hire your own driver. Because these vehicles, these expenditures are as a result, sometimes as a result of abuses.
If there is abuse, then let's curtail it. Let's address it. But as to whether we can get rid of the vehicles and pay people equivalent compensation, I doubt whether that will be cheaper.
At the end of the day, the responsibility of monitoring proper management of government vehicles lies with every Ugandan. After all, it's the taxes of Ugandans that are used to buy and maintain these vehicles.
And so probably it's time for the nation to ask questions in regard to how traffic rules can be properly implemented to save lives on the road, and also how the public service standing orders can be executed to save the billions being wasted on managing government fleet. Sabit Joseph, NBS Live at 9.